8:36 here, Big 550 KTRS. David Stokes is with us. He, of course, is the Show Me Institute Development Director. But more importantly, he's a heck of a good guy. David Stokes, thanks for checking in.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
All right, you're our eyes and ears when things in these small little towns pop up. We got a couple of ballot initiatives going on.
We've got some big ones coming up here on, I believe it's November 3rd, the first Tuesday following the first Monday of November.
All right.
And usually in an odd-numbered year, there's not much of an election, but we've got a few specials with some very large property tax increase proposals.
Oh, boy.
In the Melville School District, which is a big part of South County, the Kirkwood School District, obviously,
right.
and then the city of Edmundson. Theirs is, I'll give pros and cons to the school districts in Melville and Kirkwood, and there's ways to look at it on both sides. But the Edmundson one, where they're doubling the commercial property tax rate while keeping the residential property tax rate at zero. I mean, that's immoral. That is to say, and you're talking, these are airport hotels that are going to have to pay $30,000, $40,000 more in increased property taxes so that the residents of Edmundson can still get by at no property taxes at the municipal level. It's doing nothing more than going from sticking it to the drivers on I-70, since they can no longer do that. They're going to stick it to the few businesses they have in town.
So Christine Byers has a story today about the North County Police Cooperative, which many of these towns are doing away with their own police department and then sort of joining this North County Cooperative. And she brought up a stat which was staggering to me, that of the 59 communities that have their own police department?
Yeah, it's in the high 57, 59. Yeah.
Okay. Although of all the police departments in the county, 1/3 of them police an area less than a mile.
It doesn't surprise me.
1/3. So 20 police departments are in charge of less than 1 square mile.
Yeah, I mean there are economies of scale that you're probably missing in this. Right.
Wow. So Edmundson
least.
needs to fund their police department, which is less than a mile, so they're going to try and tax the businesses.
They've got 4 or 5 big businesses in Edmundson. They serve the airport, so I guess there's not much of a connection between the residents and the businesses. So they think that they already have a 50 cents per $100 tax rate on commercial property, while it's zero for the residents.
Right.
So now they're just going to go from 50 cents to $1, which for these airport hotels is like, as I said, I believe it's like a $35,000, $40,000 property tax increase.
Right.
Also that the residents of Edmundson cannot have to pay for their own city. They used to fund it with tickets on I-70.
Right.
Now they're going to fund it through I think, astronomical taxes on commercial business owners.
So what? I mean, does the hotel or the restaurant can't pick up and move? So
they can. You're right.
Well, they can,
but it could be very expensive. So hopefully you'll see the residents of Edmundson, the voters of Edmundson, say, "Look, it's going to be hard for them maybe to say." No, everybody likes to tax the other person and not themselves.
Right.
But you would hope that the residents would say, this is wrong. This is bad public policy. This is wrong, and shoot it down. And if they don't, it really is time for the state legislature to come in and get rid of a well-intentioned but apparently not working out idea that gives St. Louis County only the right to set different tax rates for different types of property. In the rest of the state of Missouri, the commercial, residential, and agricultural rate is the same.
Huh.
Here, we can split it up, and that's clearly, at least in some places like Edmundson, and perhaps the Kirkwood School District, which we'll talk about next, clearly that's becoming the way to fund themselves, since you can no longer fund yourselves through tickets.
All right, so what's going on with Kirkwood and Melville?
Well, Kirkwood and Melville have very substantial property tax increases on the ballot. It's a 49-cent per hundred increase in Melville and a 78-cent per hundred increase in Kirkwood. Now, to put this in understandable terms, if you own a $250,000 house in Kirkwood, that would be a $370 tax increase.
It's kind of a nice chunk of change.
Mm-hmm. It is a nice chunk of change. So if you apply the same ratio to the Melville area in South County, if you have a $250,000 house, it'll be about a $240 tax increase. So these are what voters need to think about. And yes, I've done studies, and there are many, many other studies. It is good for your property values to have a good school district. If your school district is succeeding and these property tax increases can make it better and help improve the resources and education for the kids,
Right.
then there's no doubt that, yes, it'll hurt to pay these taxes, but in the long run, your property values may benefit. However, if you as a voter don't think that the money's going to be well spent, if you think it's just going to be wasted or spent on superfluous things like the newest fad of expanded early childhood education, we'll get everybody in there by 3.
At least you're not editorializing.
Right. If you think that's unnecessary spending, then it's going to be hard. I've noticed in the last few years, and I don't have just my own opinion, we've seen fewer of the 20 and 30 cent type tax increases, which
Right.
the amounts for people are reasonable. It seems now it's more of a go big or go home. Like if you're going to go through the efforts as a school district to raise taxes,
Right.
you might as well ask for a lot because it takes a lot of time and effort to put into it. And that's what's happening in both of these districts.
It really, I mean, that is a lot. I mean, and that's just not 1 year. That's ongoing. That's every year. That's an extra $300, $250, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's up to the voters in there. And again, if you've got kids in the school district, it's probably money well spent. It's certainly a lot less
Right.
than the cost of private schools. Even if you don't have kids in it, if it's well spent, well apportioned, well invested, it probably benefits your housing value. On the other side, it's an awful lot of money, and if you don't trust that it's going to go in the right places,
Well, but
I could certainly see not agreeing to it.
It's a lot of money for one homeowner, but then add up the $300 for every single homeowner and every single business. That's a large chunk of money they're going to raise every year for the schools.
Well, yeah, in each of these school districts, it's millions of dollars more. And and to the district's credit, you can go to their various web pages and see what they're going to spend it on. And as I said, pros and cons. Unlike Edmundson, which it's just time for the legislature to come in and say, you have to set the rate the same, or people are just going to stick it to businesses like crazy. And I will note, I mentioned Kirkwood earlier, because if you look at the tax rates currently in Kirkwood School District, businesses pay more than $1 per 100 more than residents do. So they're already significantly asking businesses to pay even more than the residents do. And I don't think that's right. I know people say businesses should pay their fair share, but they do. I don't know why the residents who are getting their children educated should expect businesses to pay even more than the people who actually are sending the kids to school should.
David Stokes, tough things. Thanks for shedding some light on it.
Got a lot of information on property taxes and local taxes at showmeinstitute.org.
David Stokes, have yourself a good week.
Thanks, McGraw. Thanks, Kelly.
845, Big 550,